Hey, everybody. Look at the kitty. She's so cute. Oh, okay. There you go. Welcome to the live stream. We are trying to get some production value in my videos. Welcome to the live stream for Thursday, August 10th, 2023. My name is Alan Collins. We are the oldest, largest, and first and only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. If you're new to the group, welcome. Please spread the word about this group, ladies and gentlemen. We got it going on. We're kicking ass right now. I've said that before over the past 18 years of our existence, but I think it's actually more true today than it's ever. We're in the strongest position that we've ever been in today than we have ever been in. So if you're new to the group, there are two simple things that we're fighting for. One is the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, least of all you or me, but we have learned over 18 hard, long years of careful consideration and observation that unless and until we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned to student loans, we're going to be begging Joe Biden or the next president forever to cancel loans. And what we'll get is this nonsense like what we've just seen and what we're seeing right now as we speak. Second thing we're fighting for, speaking of loan cancellation, is the cancellation of all federally owned student loans by executive order. We are the group, believe it or not, we are the group right here that launched the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the public conversation. First with a seminal news article in Vice News in summer 2019, and then with our petition, which you can see and hopefully you've signed at change.org/cancel student loans. So I've got a couple of announcements. If you will not be resuming paying on your student loans and you want to be interviewed, let me know. You can pay if you're watching. By the way, if you're watching us live on Facebook and or Twitter, you can leave a live comment. I'll happily read it on air. But you can PM me again if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter. You can find me very easily. You can also see my contact info down below. There's a couple stories. A lot of places very interested in the question of people not resuming paying on their student loans. And here's the news: be it good or bad, even before the pandemic, most student loan borrowers were not paying on their loans, like close to 60%, 3 and 5. That's going up. I don't care what they do or don't do in Washington. Whenever they try and turn these loans back on, 4 in 5 of all borrowers are not going to resume paying on their loans. So, you want to talk about a debt strike and all that's kind of the topic of tonight, or I think that's the wrong word, quite frankly. It's not a strike. It's a payment stoppage. It's the end of the federal student loan program. But that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely and unequivocally. And there is nothing that anybody in Washington, D.C. or New York or Manhattan or Hollywood or anywhere else in the country, nothing that anybody can do, not you, not me, not anyone, can prevent that from not being true. So the lending system has failed, ladies and gentlemen. The only question is whether we get a civil, good, quick, economically stimulative death to this federal student loan program, or whether we get a disgusting dystopian years or even decades long unwinding where, yeah, the loans are ultimately canceled. That's inevitable at this point. But it is through the end of your natural life rather than any act of Congress or the president. So the stakes are very high, guys. I am a defaulted student loan borrower, so I want to be done with these loans. And as I said at the top of this broadcast, I know that will happen, but it will only happen when we, the people, get the leverage of bankruptcy returned to the loans without anybody even having to file. Very important, guys. I can't tell you how important that is. So today, we were interviewed in a newspaper, a national newspaper media outlet called The Hill. It's a place where I used to write. I used to publish stuff there, by the way, but they just got so terrible. I quit writing stuff there. I was like, you know what? I don't like you people. I'm not publishing stuff here anymore. That's true. But we still do interviews with them from time to time. So today they ran a story where the question of the interview was, so what is this debt strike we keep hearing about, and who's going to do it, or something like that. And I don't want to say they misquoted me. They didn't misquote me, but they left out all of the most important stuff that I said. So number one, what I said was, I think strike is the wrong word, because, right? And that's something another group is doing. I don't want to really get into that right now, but the point is, when you go on strike, it's like, no, we're not going to do something until you do something that we demand, and then we'll return to doing that something that we stopped doing. Well, that's the wrong word for what's going on with federal student loans, guys. A mass payment stoppage is going to happen. In fact, it started in 2020 with the pandemic and the repayment pause. So call it a strike if it makes you feel good, I guess, but it's just the wrong word. People will not be resuming paying on these loans. The demand, if this was a strike, the demand would be to cancel loans. So either way, we're not going to resume paying. So it's really it's really the end of the federal student loan program. So I know that sounds dramatic and fringe or whatever, but guys, it's not. By all rational metrics, the lending system is finished. I mean, when they turn these loans back on, my best estimate is that maybe 75% of the people will not be paying. So let me say that in a different way. Maybe at the most 25% of the borrowers will pay. Before the pandemic, 58% were not paying. So like 42% were not paying. That's going to go down to 25% for sure. People have had 3.5 years to think about it. Inflation has sucked up all the money we were saving from not paying. It's just not going to happen, guys. 25% of the people is probably a high mark for how many people will resume paying when they turn the loans back on. And that's probably going to go down precipitously in the months following them turning the loans back on. Now, there's this 1 year on-ramp to repayment where there won't be collection activities and this and that and the other thing. I know, I get that. But the point remains, guys, people are done. We're done. Lending systems fail from time to time. In the big scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. By way of context, the subprime home mortgage crisis, most people would call that a failed loan program. Well, the default rate for subprimes was 20%. That's 1 in 5 borrowers defaulting on their loans. The default rate for federal student loans, even before this pandemic, was 40%. So that's double the subprime home mortgage default rate. That is only going up to probably to 65, 70, 75, 80%, maybe even higher. I don't know. My best guess is something like 75 or 80% is going to be the default rate. And I don't care what the people in Washington, D.C. or Manhattan or wherever else do or they don't do. So this article further quoted me, and this is maybe a very important point. And this was they made it was clearly a hit piece against this debt strike. That's kind of what it was. I came to find out when I actually read the article, but they quoted me in the title of the article as calling a debt strike per se as irresponsible. And that's true, guys. To tell people to stop paying their loans in the absence of bankruptcy protections to student loans, that's setting a lot of people up for a fail, because The collection company is drooling at the prospect of them turning these loans back on and seeing a mass default. That's like manna from heaven to the student debt collection industry. And I think it's very irresponsible to tell people to not pay, and that's it. What we tell people, and in my humble opinion, nobody should resume paying on their student loans. I think that's not only unwise, I think it's unpatriotic. Don't feed this beast. So my heart and soul are fully on board with people stopping payments en masse. In fact, I wish everyone would stop paying. I'm not going to urge them to do that. What we do urge people is to do everything you can possibly can to not pay. Do everything you can possibly do to not feed this beast. And in the meantime, ideally between now and October 1st, everyone with student loans, whether they pay or not, should be fighting as hard as possible for the return of the leverage of bankruptcy rights to these loans. That is the most important thing I will probably say tonight. And they very conveniently left that out of the article. So, okay, whatever. It was what it was. I'm glad that they at least mentioned the ridiculous and obscene and unconstitutional and unconscionable and immoral removal of bankruptcy protections from these loans. Bankruptcy protections must be reinstated to student loans. That is the most important thing I will say tonight. Reinstated. That's my new favorite word. I'm going to stop saying return bankruptcy to student loans. Words are important, and we're sort of wordsmiths here. And it's like the abortion debate. Like one half calls themselves pro-life, the other call themselves pro-choice, right? It's a battle of words. It's an info war. It's a word war. And so too is it for the student loan problem. A lot of headlines will say things like, make it easy for students to dodge their student loan debt in bankruptcy, or make it easy for students to get rid of their student loans in bankruptcy. That is a very anti-borrower turn of phrase there. It evokes certain things in the reader's mind. You think of people going, yeah, I don't have to pay. Me, it's deadbeats, man. So reinstate, that is the word of, I think, the rest of this movement until this thing finally gets solved one way or the other. Reinstate bankruptcy protection of student loans. That's the most important thing that I or you or anyone and everyone with student loans, whether you would ever or never file, is not important. Like I said, it's just having the leverage of bankruptcy that is so important. There's some other stuff going on right now. We're super busy. We're asking everyone to get us into a meeting with your member of the House of Representatives. Very important, guys. And most of you aren't doing it. And that really distresses me. We don't need the media to solve this problem. We don't need these disgusting NGOs in Washington, D.C., these influencers, these people on Twitter. We don't need any of those people to solve the student loan problem, guys. All we need is you, and all we need is Congress, and maybe to a lesser extent, or maybe in equal measure, the President of the United States. It's us, the borrowers, me and you, the people in this group, Congress and the President. That's it. That's all we need. So you have to do your part. And at a minimum, you will do two things. Number one, you will start doing our daily actions on a daily basis. That's very important. And you can see the link to do the daily actions right there, the bit.ly link. Or you can just go to our website, look up. It's right there. Very simple. But the second thing is get us into a meeting with your member of the House of Representatives. It's easy to do. We met with many dozens at this point, but there's 435 members of the House of Representatives. It's a lot of people. We could do one a day, and it would take us over a year to make that happen. Well over a year, actually. We should be doing 3 a day, in my humble opinion. Sometimes we do 2 a day, but that's not nearly enough, guys. We're not getting nearly enough of those meetings scheduled. So you need to do your part and help, because these are your loans and this is your problem. So maybe the last thing I should say tonight is, dudes, we actually and absolutely need donations right now. Let me dial that in for you before I go. I'm going to keep this to short live stream tonight. Hope that's okay. We need donations, dude. Sorry, we can fight and win this battle on very little funding. We cannot and will not be able to exist on nothing. So right now, for example, we need 22 people to donate $20, and that's for this week's expenses. Just please help if you appreciate all that this group has done. And we wouldn't be talking about student loan cancellation by executive order, but for this group. We wouldn't be talking about bankruptcy legislation from last year or hopefully forthcoming very soon this year, but for this group. This group is way more important than we appear, guys, and it would be a real shame if we disappeared for the lack of the relative nickels and dimes that we need to fight and win this battle. So just please donate. I suck at fundraising, if you haven't noticed. I'm no good at it. I hate to do it. Please just make it easier on me and just donate. So hopefully 22 people out there will donate $20 today so I can shut up about it for the rest of the week. Okay, I'm looking for your questions and comments now. And then I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. Let me do a quick refresh here. Got to get bankruptcy rights back, guys. Whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy is not important. Nobody will even have to file. Really, when we get the right return, obviously a few people will, and to each their own. But it's just having the leverage of bankruptcy back on our side that is so important. Please understand that. You know, there's a lot of fake AstroTurf groups out there who are pimping this problem, don't want to actually solve this problem. They call for loan cancellation like broken records, and they're completely silent, or even worse, they even oppose the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. Something is very not right with those groups, guys. I don't speak for those groups. I won't even try to defend those groups. Let them defend themselves. What I know is what I just said. We've got to get the right of bankruptcy returned if we're ever going to see anything good happen with these loans. Hey, Jackie Abron from Texas is with us tonight. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Jackie says, I've been misquoted and manipulated too, and it sucks. Shame on them. I hate when they do that. Yeah, you know, Jackie, I should say we work with the media all the time, guys. We've been featured on 60 Minutes and in the New York Times, and we've broken news in the Wall Street Journal, and we were featured on MSNBC. We've been interviewed on Fox News. You name it. Left media, right media, big media, small media, you name it. We've been in it. And Jackie knows she's been in all kinds of media lately. Lisa Ansell as well, who I see here with us tonight in California. Journalists almost always screw stories up, like literally over 95% of the time. I will read a story that some journalist somewhere does that they interviewed me for. So I was like, you know, I was intimately involved with the piece. And there's usually at least 3 to 4 things that are either just badly wrong, like just blatantly not correct, or there's like 2 or 3 things that I just go, no. Like they were either out to get us, which is not too often, but sometimes, like they purposely, it was kind of a hit piece against us. And that was kind of the whole point in the beginning. But more often than not, it's just they only print a tiny fraction of what you say. And the context that they put it in makes it seem like you are saying something that you didn't mean. Like what you say is put in a context to where it's like, are we against what people are calling a debt strike? No. We think nobody should pay. In fact, we think it's not only unwise, but unpatriotic to ever pay another dollar in this federal student loan program. But anyways, that always happens. That's the media. I could tell you many other stories. Like probably the best reporter I've known on this topic. I know him pretty well. We know him really well at this point. Matt Taibbi. He did a fantastic article in Rolling Stone in 2013 on the student loan issue. And he interviewed me. We spent hours and hours talking about it. And he actually broke some very important research that I've been doing about the government making a profit on defaulted loans in his story. And I read his story, and I read his story today, and it was a very strong, very solid story. Matt is one of the very few reporters. Like on 3 fingers can I count, maybe 4 fingers can I count the good reporters out there. And Matt is one of the real good guys on this topic, no doubt about it. But even Matt's first story, I was like, okay, Matt. Like I had a major problem with the way he rolled out my claim, the claim that the government is indeed making a profit on student loans. So to his credit, he did what reporters do, and I understand that, but it's just kind of the way the way reporters report. It's a very frustrating thing to see almost every piece of media come out when there's stuff in there where it's one thing, but the way it gets reported on is not quite what you imagine. So anyways, hats off to Matt Taibbi, by the way. He's one of the few good guys in this fight. But I'm just saying that by way of to make you understand that reporters almost never get the story right. So Lisa says, we can't pay and we won't pay. The system will be going down in flames with the swamp fighting all the way down to the bitter end. I added a tiny bit to your comment, Lisa, but yes, Lisa Ansell knows exactly what I'm talking about. The lending system is failed, ladies and gentlemen. The pandemic was the nail in the coffin. It doesn't matter what the people at Forbes fucking magazine write. The lending system is done. It's done. It's finished. Very few people are going to pay. And if you ever do resume paying on your student loans again, you'll be in the very small minority of all borrowers. That's true. Now, again, people are going to do what they're going to do. I understand nobody wants to be garnished. Nobody wants to go into default. There's things that you can do to avoid that. By the way, you can pay like $1 every 269 days. And at least up to this point, that has worked wonders for many of our members to keep their loans out of default. So many things you can do to withhold your wealth from this lending scam. And we urge everybody to explore and exploit any and all of those avenues. Don't feed these people your hard-earned money, ladies and gentlemen. It's like what do they say about feeding a dog? A stray dog, it just keeps coming back. It's like that, guys. Anyways. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna go on much further here. I've actually got some people coming over to adopt one or more of my little kittens. So I've got to cut it short, but I hope you all appreciate what we're doing here on this group. I hope that something of what I said here tonight echoed with you, particularly about doing our daily actions. You have no idea how important you could be. The system is so big and unstable and ready to collapse at any moment. It only takes one person to push that very right button, remove that one little Jenga block or that one little card from the house of cards, and the whole thing you have no idea how important you can be, guys. And you better get on it, because these are your loans, your livelihood, and this is your thing hanging in the balance here, guys. And we can't do your work for you. Certainly Lisa and Jackie cannot fight your battle for you. They're fighting their own battle, and they are doing great, very impressive things, I should say. But they can't carry your weight for you. Nobody can. Only you can. It's a working fighting group, and you got to put your own work on in this block. In the immortal words of some neighborhood guy in that movie Training Day in East Los Angeles somewhere, as he was talking to the protagonist, I think it was the antagonist in that movie. Training Day, watch it. Excellent film. Okay, all right, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Good luck doing our daily actions. Please donate. Just please donate. Godspeed. God bless everyone.